Good morning. Dr. Lakeisha Nelson Hill. This is my sister, by the way, Lisa.
Oh, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On the East Coast, but good morning to y'all.
Good afternoon to you then, huh?
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, now. I'll get that part. Keisha, I'm sending some, waiting on a couple of people to join. Good morning, Lorenzo McDuffie.
Good afternoon, Ayanna.
Good afternoon. In Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Buenos dias.
Hi, Lorenzo. I'm Lisa. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Lisa. Nice to meet you too.
Hey, Lorenzo, it's Keisha.
Hey, how you doing?
You look different.
I got hair now, yes.
It's good to see you.
You too.
I want to be down in Puerto Rico where it's warm, salsa dancing.
I did that yesterday, as a matter of fact.
I'm going to take lessons. I was in Costa Rica earlier this year, and that was one of the things that when I left Costa Rica, I was like, I could speak some Spanish, not fluently. I was like, I want to learn how to speak Spanish better, and I want to take salsa lessons.
Great combination.
Yes.
We should all I love when somebody wants to learn a language better, whether you know it or not. It's always nice to just, just understand the language a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely practiced quite a bit while I was there. I was there for 2 months, so I practiced quite a bit, but I'd love to learn how to fluently speak it. I don't really care about writing it or reading it. I really just want to speak it.
Yeah, conversation.
Yeah, just conversation. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wait just like 2 more minutes for a couple of other people. Make sure everyone got the link this morning. Lorenzo, are you in school right now?
Yes, I am in the middle of writing my dissertation. I expect to finish the first full draft next month for my committee review. And I'm expecting to defend it probably, between February and March.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So I took 2 weeks off from writing and I started again yesterday.
Oh man.
It's intense.
It seems so easy for you though.
Oh my goodness. Writing is my love, but it's also my pain.
Look, if it's painful for you, imagine how it will be for someone who isn't as affluent as you are.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah.
So what is the subject?
Oh, so the context of my work is about the Jesuit order, which is the Society of Jesus. As you know, I was a member of the Jesuits when I was in seminary many years ago. Mm-hmm. And this study is about how Black Jesuits in the order experience anti-Black racism from their white brothers. And it's the first time that question has been raised in an academic setting. And I got a huge response. So I got 50% of all the Black Jesuits in the States to participate in my survey, which I only needed like 10%, but 50% have responded, mm-hmm. which is good, but it also made more work for me to do, to analyze the data. So But yeah, so anyway, that's what it's about. And my audience is the Jesuits and the whatever the findings reveal, hopefully that they will be able to address those issues so that so that the ministry of these Black men could be a much better place and serving God.
Love it. I can't wait to read it. I'm sure it'll take me a while to get through it all, but I remember.
Oh, it could be like your writing. You know how you write, girl.
Just like,
I read your book twice.
That makes me feel really good. Like it's not boring you, at least, hopefully.
No, it's not. It's like the way you write, it's like someone is sitting right in the living room with you. Yeah,
that's what I want it to be.
Your writing is very personable. Yeah, it's so relatable. It's like a conversation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good morning, Angela, or good afternoon. I think Angela is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So good morning or good afternoon to you. And I think we'll go ahead and get started because I know that everyone who's on here has also a question about a skin concern that you have, and I want to make sure we have enough time for all of your questions as well. So everyone who is on the call is very familiar with Ayanna Denise and familiar with me. And so I'm super duper happy that you all joined me this morning and took time out of your day to learn a little bit more and also ask questions that you need to ask. There's always something to learn. Angela says, good morning to everybody, by the way. She put that in chat. Thanks for sending that, Angela. A lot of people know me because of the products, which is Ayanna Denise, and like Lorenzo mentioned earlier, from the book that he read, which is the Good Skin Bible. That was my first publication dealing with skincare and helping people have healthy skin, which is my focus. There's plenty of people who focus on cosmetics, and that's great. Skin augmentation, improving the appearances or getting it aesthetically how someone may be wanting it to look. That is not my focus. My focus is to make sure skin is healthy, to help people understand the skin organ as an organ, just like people have been able to really get into their gut health and into their heart health and into their keeping their lungs healthy and things like that in their digestive system and doing all of these things to improve their lifestyle. So that is the same thing I do for skin. I love the fact that I have learned so much. And the reason why I have learned so much is because my background is actually designing. And when I design clothes, I actually traveled quite a bit, and it gave me the freedom to understand different cultures, not just in a social way, but also genetically, how they work. So one of the first things I did was when I understood river people and understood their diet, and I compared them to maybe someone who grew up in New York, or their people were in New York, in the city, I was able to understand like how their diets should work genetically. So that really is what helped me fall down a rabbit hole, along with the fact that when I was around 23, 24, around there, I started getting yeast infections consistently. I also had a lot of allergy issues. And the best answer a doctor could give me was, oh, it just happens. It just happens. And I was like, that's bullshit. I'm not taking that at all. So that's really what had me like really dive into holistic health. And while I was doing holistic health, it evolved into focusing on the skin, because the skin was a window to all the other organs. So if I could understand the skin and how it works and how to nourish it, I could actually understand what the other systems of the body needed as well, because the skin is the window. It could reveal a lot of things, just like the eyes can reveal a lot of things. The skin can do it as well. So visually, we see what's going on, but a lot of people don't understand that, and they assume that something's just wrong with their skin. But in reality, the skin is telling you something else that's going on inside of you. So if you can focus on that, you can also help the rest of your body holistically. So that's how I started falling in. And then I discovered that selling products was not enough. I had to educate people. So that's when the Good Skin Bible was published. And also I started the skin services a little bit before that. Because estheticians were not really able to focus on different skin as it was. It was always if someone had an issue and they wanted to cover it up or they wanted to zap it. But then again, what happened was people had to keep getting zapped. Well, how do we stop the zapping? How do we stop them from doing that? Who wants to get zapped every time they come see you? You know, who wants to go through that pain? So that is how my study has continued to develop, and it continues to health-wise. The more I understand about nutrition and the more I understand about how pollution and the environment affect our skin, the more I understand it, and I'm able to relay that information to you all as well. So I appreciate you all for joining me so much. This is my first webinar, which is the top 3 tips I have to have natural, healthy skin during the winter. Everyone goes through it. You know, people think that their skin is just, oh my God, it's just so dry and something's wrong with my skin. But it's not. Nothing's wrong with your skin. Your skin is saying, hey, we need a little bit more of this, or we need a little bit more of that. So we're going to go into our first topic, which is hydration. And this is a very important sort of like common sense thing, but we don't think about it because it's not summertime anymore. In the summer, it's hot. It's, oh my God, I need to drink more water. You know, I need to drink Gatorade, which is what a lot of people drink, or a sports drink. But what happens in the wintertime? We think because it's not hot that we don't need more water. But the reality is we need to still up our water. If you're going down the water, pick it up. And then also what happens during the holiday is we start feeding in sugary drinks. There's more wine, we're being more festive. We have eggnog, we have cider, we have hot cocoa. We have all of these sugary drinks, and we're not really picking up our water intake at the same time, but we need to, because we need to flush the toxins out of our body. We need to flush that sugar out of our body as well. And we also need to make sure we're providing enough circulation for our skin cells to do their job. So every 2 to 4 weeks, our skin cells should be rejuvenating. What you see today from my skin should look different in 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. About 4 weeks ago, I had a wild time. My business partner had a wedding. I was kicking back the rum. Right. And what happened was my skin was being affected from that. So in about a couple of days, I had dark spots on my skin. I looked a little bit dry. My texture was a little bit off as well. I wasn't like glowing like I felt like I should. And it was because of the up in alcohol. I had a lot of rum that I took in. Then on top of that, there were sweets. Okay, I got a couple of pound cakes and stuff like that in my system. But guess what? As long as I put that water in my body, 2 to 3, maybe not even 2 weeks later, those blemishes had cleared up naturally. I did nothing. I added nothing crazy to my skin. I continued my skin routine. I picked up my water intake. I think the only change that I made was I cleaned my face twice a day. So I cleaned it in the morning and I cleaned it in the evening with our cleanser. And so what you want to do is, when you're thinking about hydration, think about what your body needs. Naturally, your skin is going to be affected by it in a great way. So drink more water. I created this little drink today because I know a lot of people get bored with regular water, right? So if you want to spice it up a little bit, get some mineral water. It is great for you as well. It's hydrating. Add some berries to it, which, by the way, we'll go into the other reason why berries are really important for your skin. But you want to make sure to just drink that in. Drinking the antioxidants from the berries as well. And that's going to help speed up that skin cell production. It's really good at it. You'll be amazed at how it picks it up. It's tasty. It has like I taste a little bit of the blueberries in there, so that's really nice. So we have the berries and we have the water. So when we also talk about topical hydration, what I tend to tell people is whatever you did in the warmer months, you're going to have to change it when the weather changes. And for people who are in warmer climates, like for instance, Lorenzo is in Puerto Rico and Angela is in Florida. And I can't remember if Angela's in the southern part of Florida or the more northern part, but you're not going to have that much flexibility in the temperature where you think, oh, well, I don't really need to change my moisturizer too much because it's still warm outside. But what I suggest that you do is look at the precipitation in the air along with the weather drop, the temperature drop, which could just be in the mornings, let's say, for instance, and it's only fluctuating about 10 degrees. But what I do is I'll go from an oil to something heavier. For me, I do something with beeswax in it. So my favorite moisturizer to switch to is the Glow. That's one. And sometimes I'll do the Glow like at nighttime. Sorry about that glare there, but I'll do this at nighttime. But then also what I'll do is I'll switch to the corrector, which is a butter. So even if you have like shea butter at the house, if you have cocoa butter, if you have, and I'm not talking about fake cocoa butter, I mean like real, like the real stuff. What is that brand that has, it smells like vanilla. It smells really nice. And we've all used it, but it doesn't have a lot of cocoa. Which one?
Dr. Palmer.
Dr. Palmer's cocoa butter. So Dr. Palmer has like I think it's like maybe 0.30%. You'd have to read the label, but it really is a very small percentage. I studied this a couple of years ago of cocoa butter, and the rest of it is really mineral oil based. So when you're buying products like that, you want to make sure that there is not mineral oil or petroleum listed. Why? Because it's going to encourage chapped skin. You're going to think that you're getting moisturized for the first 10 minutes. And then guess what? Your skin's going to start rejecting it. So say, no, we don't want that on us. That's not doing anything. So focus on ingredients. You want butters or you want something with beeswax with the natural oil. Stay away from mineral oil or petroleum. They seem to work at first, and then what happens is the skin will reject it. Also, Cetaphil is like that. These are prescription things as well, and they have plastic derivatives in it. So you really need to make sure you're reading the labels to ensure that only natural ingredients are going into your skin as opposed to synthetics. Okay, any questions about the hydration part so far?
I have a question.
Okay.
What do you recommend? How many glasses of water per day? People always say 8 glasses, 10 glasses. What has been your experience and recommendation for glasses of water per day?
Well, I have heard the 8 glasses a lot, and I really do believe that it is based on the person's weight. I don't think 8 glasses works for everybody. It's supposed to be a percentage of your body weight. I can't remember the exact percentage. I think it's a quarter of your body weight in ounces. Let's just double check on that before you quote me on it, but I believe it's a quarter of your body weight in ounces. So if you are 100 pounds, 25 ounces is how much you're supposed to drink. 25 ounces is about maybe about 3 water bottles full of water. If you have a regular, let's see, I think this is about 20, this may be 20 ounces, maybe 18, 20, this size right here. So if I were 100 pounds, I need about 2 of these per day, right? You don't want to do just go crazy on the water. So let's say, for instance, again, if you're 100 pounds, don't do 60 ounces of water. That's just way too much. There's a such thing as putting too much water into your body. But some signs that you need to pick up your water is dry mouth. That's a really great sign. If you're doing this a lot and there's nothing there, it's just dryness, that's another sign you need to pick up your water intake. On your skin. Headaches also, that's a very good sign of dehydration. Once you get the headache, we've probably taken it a little bit too far. Right, but that's a really good one, Angela. Like if you're getting headaches, It's like, okay, your body has tried to give you all the signs possible, and the only way it can really get your attention is to start shutting down something, which is where the headaches come in. So you definitely want to pay attention to your body before that headache comes. So that's a really, really great question about how much water to drink.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for that great question too. And thanks to Angela for chiming in. So the next thing I want to talk about is when you're doing these sort of topical applications, a lot of us have experienced hard water. Do you all know what hard water is?
Yes, I live in Albuquerque. I know what that is.
Yeah. You say that Albuquerque only has hard water?
Well, maybe
Yeah.
in North Valley, it was hard up there in North Valley.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of places really do have hard water. The more, how do I put this? The more people that are in a particular radius, more than likely the higher chance of you having hard water. Cities have hard water. If you're in a more of a rural area, you're not going to have as much hard water because they're not doing as much treatment to it as they do with the city water, because they're having to reprocess water over and over again. But just a few weeks ago, in fact, it was Thanksgiving, I stayed at a hotel. I think hotels have the hardest water you could ever have. They because they have to put all this chlorine in there because it's getting recycled to so many people. You know, I'm talking about the, you know, especially major hotels, maybe not boutique hotels, but definitely major hotels. They have hard water. Thanksgiving, I stayed at a hotel and took a shower. And as soon as I finished, this was me, like, oh my gosh, what? Wow, I can't believe this water is, you know, is that hard that I'm getting itching and tightness. So the key to that, which I didn't have at the time, is honey. You should have this in your kitchen, right? So I am a very bougie honey person. Like, I'm not buying honey from Walmart for 99 cents. More than likely, I'm going to be paying the $8 for a little thing of honey because it has all of the good stuff in here. You don't want it to be super processed. I don't want my honey to be super processed. I want all the extra nutrients in there that the bees naturally put in here. And that's what I do. But what you can do at home is you can actually take some of your raw honey and add it to your body wash. Hopefully it's not Dow or Irish Spring or Axe, but add it to your body wash. A nice natural Castile soap is also nice. And you can add some honey to it and then start showering with it. The hardest place for me is my back, which is where a lot of tightness comes, and you just can't seem to scratch the itch, right? So do you have one of these? Everybody have a brush with a handle on it? Oh, of course, this is a natural brush, right? Because that's just me, right? A natural brush. I do suggest a natural versus a plastic brush, but you know, it can reach your hard spots in the back that are just a little bit harder to reach. You know, you can also get under your arms really good, a nice gentle exfoliating scrub. So I'm not doing it very rough, just very gently. And that's what you want. You want to apply it with the brush. And that also encourages circulation when you're using a brush versus a washcloth. I have gone almost 100% to a brush or some sort of exfoliating scrub to cleanse my body, because the washcloth is not, it doesn't have the exfoliation to it. And so I find that when I use a brush or an exfoliating scrub, everything is just, the skin cells fall off better. You know, I'm rejuvenating my cells at a faster rate versus them like staying on. They really should just fall off and rinse off. So I definitely suggest the brush, okay? Another thing you can do is, let's say if you don't have body wash, you can actually put your soap on the brush and then add a little bit of honey to that. You can do that. You can also put honey on your skin before you take a shower. It works very well. I've done it both ways.
How do you feel about the hand gloves? They're like kind of like the exfoliators.
Yeah, I like those actually. I don't see a problem with you using that. The only people who may have an issue with using those gloves on a continued basis is someone who already has some sort of inflammation on their skin. So if
Mhm.
you have like red patches on your skin or patches of bumps, I don't suggest you use further exfoliation. Like keep it really gentle, because what that can do is add too much exfoliation, and then your skin is still getting upset and getting more agitated. So the
Right.
exfoliation gloves are fantastic. I love using them, but just be careful. If you have inflammation, don't use that, because your skin's already trying to tell you that where it's very upset and it wants to be calmed down versus agitated more. That's a really
Right.
good question because I love those gloves.
Yeah. I get a whole pack from Amazon.
Yeah, so it's great to use them, but just like I said, be careful. If you have any sort of redness on your body, don't use the gloves. Like give it
Mhm.
calm down, let your skin calm down a little bit, and then you can like alternate using the gloves.
Right.
That's a really great question. I love those gloves. I actually use it on clients who have facial hair, especially, and if they have ingrown hair bumps, because it
Mhm.
actually encourages the pores to open up and relax. So I really like those. All right, the last thing that we sometimes forget about is to make sure we have sun protection. Very important. So um, in the summertime, we're in the sun and we say, oh, I need sunscreen because I'm going to lay out in the sun. Well, unless you're a hobbit for the rest of the year, you need to continue thinking about sunscreen and sun protection. That does not mean that you need to find something with an SPF of 80 or something crazy like that. Lorenzo, since you read the book, and I think, if anyone else has read the book as well, there's a chapter specifically dedicated to SPF so that you have a great understanding of how it works. But what I want you to think about is, what foods can I eat that will actually help my body protect me from the sun rays? Again, berries. Okay, that's in my water, and I'm going to chunk up all those berries after I finish the water. Eat dark berries. They're your best defense against harmful sun rays. For your skin, if you have coconut oil at home that you even bought in the grocery store, guess what? It has a natural SPF in it. What takes away SPF are fragrances. So if you're like a body spray person, which we like fragrances sometimes, but you want to watch the where you're spraying the body wash. Sometimes it's best to spray it on your clothes if you want the smell, because the alcohol will actually dehydrate your skin and it also work against the SPF and coconut oil. So you want to watch that intake. You want to make sure that you can also cook in the coconut oil or like make a dressing out of the MCT oil, so that you're feeding in that SPF into your body at all times. If, for instance, if you need an easy spray, we do have the SunRx on our site, and it's a very nice light moisturizer. You can have it with the heavier products, which is like the glow that I showed you earlier. But you want to make sure you're putting that on your skin because it has red raspberry seed, and that's what it's powered by. Okay. Red raspberry seeds are just, they're packed with so many antioxidants. It's good to just eat those all year round. Okay. So I gave you all of my top tips for having really nice natural skin in the wintertime. But does anyone have any questions over that part? Good.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, I'm ready.
So my son is going through puberty right now, and you know what happens at puberty? Pimples.
Yeah.
And given what you told us about taking care of the skin, what do you recommend and how to deal with pimples in a natural, holistic way without
Okay.
using some of the over-the-counter products that we find at Walmart?
That is an excellent question because I have a lot of clients who have kids around the same age as Queen. Queen is 10. There's a lot of us who have kids between the age of 10 and 13. And so that's when the skin is changing a lot. They're eating things at school. We don't know what they're eating. They're also outside. They're in PE. Here, there's a lot of dust. So I noticed that on my daughter's skin, she doesn't have any red bumps, but I do notice her skin texture is sometimes affected during the week. And so on Friday, I actually help her with her skin routine. So Fridays, we have a good facial, a nice cleanser, which is our step one, the toner, and then a nice lightweight moisturizer. Don't go too heavy on his skin for right now. Let's try to see what moisturizer is best for him. And the best way to start with a light moisturizer. And then if it seems a little bit drying, then let's go a little bit heavier, meaning add the glow or add some shea butter, just a little bit, a pinch. Like, don't go crazy on the shea butter. Just add a pinch in his driest areas, but still let that light moisturizer cover his face and see if that helps as well. Kids do not listen when you say drink more water a lot of times, and I understand that. So the best thing that you can do is just, let's say, make sure he has a glass of water with dinner. Just make sure, because you don't know what he's drinking throughout the day. They have candy at school. They're gonna eat it. We just can't be with them all the time, and that's understandable too. So just at home, you want to make sure not to give him anything sugary. So even juice, like, oh, you know what? Let's do some. How about a glass of almond milk? You know, as opposed to something juice and sugary. And just speaking of milk, also, you want to try to remove some of the dairy from his body. You don't have to remove all of it, but just start with one thing and also see when you add it back, what happens. With Isaiah also having asthma, this is something to really keep in mind. Asthma and eczema are very closely related. So if he has like an eczema flare up, same thing as with a person who has asthma, we want to see where that stress point is coming from that's causing the eczema to pop up. So with that dairy removal, that will also help with the eczema as well. Okay. That's a really great question, because all of our kids have to learn their skincare routine from us. You know, they're not going to just learn it from okay. You don't want them to learn it from everywhere, just so you want to introduce it to them.
Cool. And you answered my second question, because my second question was about eczema, because Stan has eczema. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's so funny, because a lot of people who have eczema don't like that answer, you know, because they're like, but I like cheese and I like, you know, this and that. But the truth is that if you remove it from the diet, whatever stress is causing the eczema to flare up, your body is able to really bounce back from it quite quickly. So you definitely want to remove the dairy as fast as possible.
That's gonna be interesting.
It is. And you know what? The thing is that he may not be ready for that. And you can't force it, you know, so he has to be ready to remove it and just see how it works. But we can still encourage him to remove it.
Maybe you should tell him, you know, you sound more gentle than me.
I will happily talk with him about that.
All right, I'll let him know.
All right, cool. So we have a couple of really great questions too. Since we're talking, Lorenzo, since we were talking to you about the eczema, I want to address your concern with dryness and dry, cracking heels, feet, which I think I touched on a little bit earlier, but just to make sure, non-alcohol. So take out some alcohol, add more water, and then make sure your moisturizer has some beeswax in it. You can still use a nice natural lotion, but make sure to incorporate some beeswax. And then I think you're pretty familiar with the glow as well. So you can always focus that on the driest parts of your body. Or you can use it from head to toe. Sometimes I just slather it head to toe and go to bed. And then in the morning, I'm like a brand new Ayanna. I'm like, oh, fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Angela, you had a question about hyperpigmentation. And it's very interesting that you have that question, because when I thought about when you talk about the gloves, I actually felt like perhaps since you have hyperpigmentation, you might need to lay off of the gloves. And I'm going to tell you why. Usually hyperpigmentation comes after time and time again of some type of um, clogging of the skin. And what happens is the pores are getting upset, and then there's something that's burning them. So there may be something with alcohol that you're using that's causing the hyperpigmentation. But before that hyperpigmentation came, you were probably using something that was a little bit too heavy for your skin. And then you were probably doing too much exfoliation with a product that had alcohol in it. That's usually how hyperpigmentation develops. And then we try to just scrub it all away. Like, oh, I'll just scrub it away. But that's not how hyperpigmentation can fade. It has to fade through nourishment and helping those pores to open up, and then focusing on actually the complexion at that point.
Okay. Well, the hyperpigmentation is mostly, and maybe it's not the right word to use, but it's on my face, and it's more just like from acne when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So I do use products like vitamin C and so forth in the morning times. But I think mine is just from like post-inflammatory acne, if anything.
It's really tough sometimes, because when you have acne as a teenager and you have it in adulthood, it's sort of like thinking about how long it took for it to happen. And you kind of want it to go away overnight, but really it does take time to go away. But what I really do suggest is focus on cocoa, like some sort of cocoa therapy, which the glow, I think you have the glow. Okay, you do?
Yeah, I told you that was my favorite one.
That's your fave, yeah. So if you just focus on using a pinch of that, but then also pair it with Daily Cure, which has peppermint in it, it'll continue to open your pores up. But stay away from anything with alcohol in it and mineral oil. Vitamin C can actually naturally be found in a lot of oils. It is in coconut oil, believe it or not. So what I suggest, if you're buying something that says it has vitamin C in it, really find out what the base of that serum is, because it may be mineral oil and it could be contributing to your hyperpigmentation prolonging.
Okay.
So
the alternate, have you heard of I think I'm saying it right, Bukuchi oil?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I can't tell you anything about it. Is that the one with vitamin C in it?
It's actually the plant version of retinol.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
But vitamin C is in coconut oil, it's in moringa seed, it's in macadamia. There's a lot of nice natural forms that vitamin C comes in. It's almost like, okay, like vitamin E, you can get vitamin E separately.
Right.
But what they end up doing, and this is the same thing with vitamin C, is they extract that vitamin from a particular plant, and then they put it in another type of oil, which could be jojoba. Let's say, for instance, it could be jojoba, it could be mineral oil. I don't know what they're putting it in, but vitamin E is a natural vitamin. It shouldn't have to be extracted from a plant and then put it in something else. It naturally comes. So if you focus on just the oils that naturally have vitamin C, you'll be much better off. And sometimes I don't know if the oil, I don't know. I'd have to see where they're extracting, when they extract the vitamin C, what is the base oil they're putting it in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it
you may have to like take a picture of the bottle so you can like enlarge it to see like what all's in there besides the vitamin C, or to see where the vitamin C actually came from.
Right. Yeah, I try to go for the products that are more on the natural side. So reading labels on products is very important to me, just like it is when I, grocery shop.
Exactly. Yeah. And I sometimes think things slip into me. Like sometimes, even though I try to stay away from glutens, it'll slip in something, you know. The companies are really slick at, you know, putting that in. And the only way,
Wordplay.
yeah, exactly, the wordplay. And then the only way I know is because my body will swell up. Like, uh-oh, shucks, what was glutens in? I don't remember eating anything with glutens, but it could have been like some sauce I had or something like that. And not all of a sudden now, okay, now I'm swollen because of the glutens that got into my body. It made it in. Okay, wonderful question, especially with the vitamin C, because that is a big question a lot of people have, because it is kind of a catch-all. And then also, just think about why you're taking the extra vitamin C. That's another really good question. The only time I have people increase their vitamin C intake is if they have sunburn. That's really the only time they really need to focus on adding vitamin C. So just think about that. Okay, Lakeisha, your question on your skin was clarity, which is a really great question that a lot of people have. I tend to think about clarity the way I think about an upset stomach. It's very related. Like if you're going through a time where, you know, your stomach is just upset, you have to like look through your pantry and see what is it that's upsetting my stomach. And it's not really a clear sign. Like I said to Angela earlier, sometimes the gluten is hiding in the sauce. And I don't know, because I'm like, why would you even add glutens in there? What is the point? So that's how I think about skin clarity also, because I have skin clarity issues, and I always have to look at, okay, well, what is it that I'm eating that's causing skin clarity issues? Another thing that adds issues as far as skin clarity is concerned is something topical. For instance, if I'm using baking soda, and I think I covered this on a live a couple of months ago. Baking soda was actually interrupting my skin clarity. So I had to remove the baking soda, which is an oral hygiene product, but it was affecting the rest of my skin. Okay. Something else that could affect your skin clarity is pollution or something in the air. So sometimes you can get a humidifier and add humidity to the room. You can also open the windows in the house and get maybe there's some dust or something like that laying around and you need to clean that up. Plants in the house actually help with cleaning up the air as well, which affects your skin, the clarity of your skin. So you can add that to your space. I believe the rubber plant is good for that. It actually cleans the air up pretty well. I think a fern as well. Man, I did some really good research on plants that actually clean the air last year. And what I can do is just research those plants again and give you a list of the ones that can clean the air up. But definitely hit it from the diet angle of, let's see where the sodium is, where the extra sodium is. Maybe like a dye, sugars can interrupt your skin clarity. And then, like I said, topically, it could be something you're using in your personal hygiene. Like baking soda, nobody thinks about that because like, well, I have good hygiene. And it's like, yeah, but baking soda is actually pretty abrasive. So if there is something that has baking soda in it and it's getting on your face, which is a very fine powder, and if it's in something else that's a powder or even a paste, it could be getting on your face in other ways, even if there's water involved. So look at those areas to see what needs to be removed so your clarity can be improved on your skin. And brightening your complexion, which is a part of clarity. Incorporate cocoa butter, like I spoke with Angela. Cocoa butter is very great for evening out your complexion and making it brighter. Also, antioxidants, the berries, going back to the berries, incorporating more berries in your body. That's going to add antioxidants and it's also going to give you a clearer complexion. And then lots of water. Did I answer your question, Dr. Lakeisha Hill?
You did, thank you.
You're welcome. You all had some really great questions today, and I am so excited to share the skin guide with you, which is going to be available for download today. And I will send you the link for that, and you can immediately download it. And if you ever have any questions on anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to try to put this webinar on our website today. It may be tomorrow though when it gets on there. So please feel free to share it with your networks, because I noticed that a lot of people have questions like this, but it's not a regular conversation. And I really want to like dispel that. Like, let's talk about our skin, just like we're now starting to talk about our hair and starting to talk about our diets. We, now those are regular conversations. So I want it to be the same with skin. If there's an issue, as opposed to just always covering up, let's talk about it and see where the problems may be and how we can make our skin better. So does anyone else have any other questions?
No, this has been helpful. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday and eat something nice and nutritious today. And drink lots of water.
Thank you. This was, I learned a lot. I never heard of skin clarity until today. So that's a new one in my vocabulary.
Thanks to Dr. Lakeisha Hill. She Keisha, did you, Angela, did you see this was my sister Keisha?
Oh my gosh. You know what?
I would show my face, Angela. You really don't want to see me right now.
They here.
But it's good to hear your voice.
Good to hear yours.
Okay, you all. Well, thanks for coming, and we'll have another webinar next month. So if you have any suggestions of what I should talk about for 30 minutes, send me a message and I will see if we can create a nice webinar for it. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.